and we're here at Lunchtime with Anna at DKM Radio, your gospel, jazz, and talk radio station. The phone lines are now open, 678-381-1973. Sitting to my left is Mr. Michael Powell.
Powell.
And with it being National or Human Trafficking Month, I wanted him to come here and kind of explain. There's some headphones right there at the bottom. And kind of explain some of the sex trafficking. I also wanted to let you guys know that I have Kimani Sadiq on the phone. Kimani, are you there?
I am here. How you doing, sis?
Hi, Kimani. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. And as you know, I have Michael Powell here as well.
That's my man. What's up, Mike?
What's up, Kimani? How you?
Man, I'm all right, bro.
Awesome.
So I'm not sure which of you two wants to give some information on what sex trafficking is. Which one of you two would like to begin it? And then we can go ahead and take it from there.
I'll be honest, man. I'm out here fighting it, but Mike will be a more of a subject matter expert. I can tell you guys how to fight it, but Mike is doing the actual documentary on it where he's doing more in-depth interviews. We get to interview like some of the people that we bring back, but Mike is talking to social workers and victims and everything else. So I'll let him take the lead on this one, and then I'll chime in.
And before you do that, Kimani, I said I would say it on air, and I just really want you to know, and the audience will be able to hear more of what you do, or, you and the group of people you have with you, but you're what most women would call a man. You make sure business is taken care of. So thank you for that, and we appreciate you. But anyways, go ahead, Michael. I'm sorry about that. I just want to make sure everybody knew that.
Right. So I knew Kimani was going to do that, too. I knew he was going to pass it off to me. But in my own words, human trafficking is the coercion either by force or deception from one human being to another, and they exploit them through, I guess the most common areas would be sex trafficking. They exploit them, through prostitution, things like that. Also exploited through free labor or forced labor. So in my definition, it would be human trafficking is when a person is forced against their will to either commit a sexual act or a forced labor act. I hope that.
and that's why I let Mikey go ahead and open this up, because I knew he'd know all the terms of forced labor and all of this stuff. If anybody knows me, man, I'm just tired of all the BS. Like they stop taking our children, stop taking them to jail, stop taking them for sex trafficking, stop taking them for labor, for anything. Like, I'm just here to stop our children and our women from disappearing. And it seems that because they're taking our little boys too. And there's not enough there's not enough grown men really concerned about it. So when I first came into this thing, my focus, and Mike could tell you, he's been there since day one just about, my focus was finding men to shift their focus. I mean, to get them to understand how important it is that we protect our women and our children. I've just about given up on that and shifted my focus to just all out training our women and children. So when this shit goes down, and it's going down now, don't get me wrong, it's going down now, at least our women and children can feel safe around themselves if they don't have a man around that's willing to take the time to do what he needs to do to make everybody feel safe, if that makes any sense.
It does. So I have a question for you, Kimani. So when you're saying that, and because I want the audience to understand, when you're saying that not even the men are standing up for women. Can you explain that to the listening audience?
Man,
Because men need to
yeah, and
realize what they're, I'm sorry, men need to realize what it is that they're doing and where they're failing us women and our children as well.
Absolutely, and a lot of men won't. Well, a lot of so-called men won't like what I have to say. But again, I'm not a hard dude to find. I'll debate with anybody or however you want to talk this thing out. But if there were enough men that I'll give you an example. I was giving a lecture. I was sitting on a panel about 2 weeks ago with about 10 other men, and I'll try to make it as short as possible. At the end of this discussion, it was about 150 men in there. We opened the mics up to where people could come up and ask questions. And a young man came up who was 14 years old, and his question was, the only son of a single mom with two sisters, what can he do to make sure that his sister and his mom are safe? And he asked the question to anybody on the panel, and the guy next to me said, it hurts my stomach to even repeat it, but he said, son, you're 14 years old. It's not your job to make your mother feel safe. She's an adult. And I thought I was being punked. Like I had to look. Now I felt like somebody must have cameras in here. I could literally see the people, because as the guy was the narrator or the moderator, he was standing in front of me because he was giving the mic to the guy next to me. I could see people looking around him to see what I had to say. So I got the mic and I told him, I said, young man, I said, the man holding this mic at 12 years old woke up to the sound of someone damn near breaking his mother's jaw. And had I not ran downstairs and grabbed a knife and chased him out of the house and to his car, he'd probably still be kicking my mama's ass. So don't listen to anyone that tells you it's okay for women and children to feel less safe when you're around, because that's not what a man is. And you don't get courage, you don't get strength, you don't get feelings of protection on your 18th birthday when you blow out those candles. You start being a man as a young man. And that's what's wrong with most of these cats now. They grew up soft, and they just ended up being soft, tall men. That's it, soft, tall boys. Because if women and children don't feel safe, the climate doesn't change when you enter that room. And you don't have to walk in with your chest out and mean mugging. But if women and children don't feel safe when you're around, you need to check yourself. And that's for any man listening.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep. And wow, Kimani, because that makes you think of anywhere that we're at that our children are seeing this. Do you think this has a lot to do with the absence of the fathers involved in their life, or do you think this is just a lot of things mixed in together?
I'll be honest with you, Sid. I like to peel back the layers of things when I'm discussing topics. I'll tell you exactly what I think it is. At some point, I had uncles. I had solid men in my. I didn't have a father, but I had solid men to look up to. My mother knew how important it was that I was the oldest boy, that she'd keep me around solid men. I didn't get a haircut to my teenage years. My mother used to take me at 5 and 6 years old to the barber shop and just let me sit in there on Saturday mornings around men that she knew were solid men. I'd hang with my uncles. And so I had somebody to emulate in my solidity, somebody to look up to. At some point, my generation stopped leading the generation behind us, and we turned around and started doing the sucker shit that they do, sagging their pants, smoking weed with no seeds that you can smell from a mile away, all kinds of stupid shit. Instead of grabbing them by their belt buckles and pulling them with us, we turned around and started acting like them. That's exactly what happened. And now men like me are so-called overly masculine or overly angry or whatever it is. If I'm overly masculine, it's because the majority of the men that I'm around are overly feminine, and I'm trying to balance this shit out.
I know that's right. Kimani, I wanna remind you, I love the passion.
I'm sorry.
You know that.
I'm sorry.
But this is a gospel station.
I'm sorry.
And I know you don't do it on purpose. It's okay. But let's just be mindful, because, some of the audience gets offended.
I apologize, audience.
It's okay.
Send your comments to Kimani Sadiq on Facebook.
I just would like to chime in. like I know for a fact that Kimani is he's real.
He is.
He is real.
What I've
He
seen of him.
means no harm as far as his language, but this man is so passionate. I've seen
Yeah.
this man take teenage boys, like gang members, and give them a sense of purpose. You know, teach them discipline and teach them self-defense skills. You know, he mentors. He won't tell you all this stuff. I mean, he mentors young kids in elementary. And junior high school, you know, they call him. I was in the truck with him one day. They was like, "Hey, Kimani, you coming to pick us up?" And he was so tired.
That's beautiful,
yeah,
Kimani. Because I'm gonna tell you something. They children, for them to actually look for that mentorship. Usually, when they join gangs and stuff like that, I think we can all agree on the fact that it's because something's missing. Something's missing at home, and you know, whether it's that figure, whether it's that defense, something's happened at home while they were growing up. So I totally can attest to what you're saying, and I can attest to Kimani's passion that he's got. I have a call on the line. Caller, go ahead with your name and with your question and or comment.
Hi, Anna. This is Kira.
Hey.
I know y'all are just getting started, and I just heard a little bit so far. But the young man that was just talking, I heard his passion. So I have a question and a comment.
Okay.
So I'll start with my comment first.
Okay.
And I know this is a gospel station.
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh,
but hold on. I'm not one of those Christians that get offended when I hear curse words, because I know the world is crueler, and I know that sometimes when your passion speaks, you got to just go hard so people will really get it. So I get that part.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
But I do have a question. I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, I heard you mention that you teach techniques to prevent, abductions and sex trafficking and human trafficking and things like that.
Absolutely.
First, I want to ask, do you do workshops? Do you attend workshops to teach these techniques? And if so, how does someone get in touch with you to do that? And the reason I'm asking is because I'm a certified life coach, but I work with a lot of teenagers, teen parents, single parents, and things like that. And, with experience, I had 2 sons myself. And as a single parent, I feel like it's my job to kind of pretty much help build the village for my children and to put them around, quote unquote, real men, if you will, that can teach them things that I can't. I hear a lot of women say, I got to be the mother and the father and things like that.
Yeah,
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that because, I can't be a father.
That's right.
I can teach my sons how to be a gentleman, but I can't teach them how to be a man. So I admire what you're doing and the passion that you have behind it. So I do want to ask, how can we get in touch with you? And also, what can you give us an example of a technique that you would, use or show a child to protect themselves?
So, quick question.
If you listen to that example. When I said the 14-year-old stood up and spoke about his parents, spoke about his mom and how to protect his sister. I called at the end of that. I called the biggest guy up in the place, and this guy comes up and I'm like, big man, I just want to use you as an example, no disrespect or anything. I was like, what's your name? The man's name is Hulk. That's how big he was, and he looked like the Hulk.
Wow.
And I said, I just want you to put your guards up, as if you and I were about to really square off, like hold them naturally, just like you would square off, like we were going to square off. And he put his guards up, and I showed the young man how, and I'm not bragging, Mike could tell you, I don't like to even talk about stuff, but I showed him in under a second how my forehead was an inch away from the bridge of his nose, because nobody holds their guards up like you don't hold your guards up with super strength. Your arms are loose. So it doesn't take anything
Right.
to slap them down and plant your forehead right in the bridge of that nose. And once you do that, depending on how hard you do it, you could kill a person. You know,
Yeah.
so it'll certainly get somebody up off you. But that's just one of the techniques that we have an entire fighting system that is designed to end the fight in under a couple of seconds. We don't teach people to go back and forth. You take a kick, I take a kick, you give a punch, I give a punch. This is over, and somebody's probably going to be crippled or dead when it's over. And that's what I'm teaching our kids.
That's wonderful.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
But with those techniques,
I mean, 'cause
with those techniques, we also have to teach discipline and when to employ them and those types of things. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't want to.
Yeah, that was my next question.
I'm not running around. Right. I'm not running around teaching the knucklehead. So it's an all-around mentorship program to where, give me that mind first. Let me see where it's at. Let me teach you what protection is and who you should be protecting, and then we can get to how you protect them.
And one thing I wanted to make sure that the audience is aware of is, you know, and this is with Kiara as well. In case you guys didn't notice, Kiara works with my human rights organization, which is We See You Human Justice Organization as well. And we do mentorship for teenagers and preteens and disabled families as well. And we do want to make it clear that we're not going to charge you an arm and a leg. However, everything costs money, and with all that we want done, and it's not that we're going to, you know, break your pocket. However, we do want people to understand that, you know, everybody has to do these things, and in order to keep these things going, we all have to charge. I'm sure Kimani feels the same way. Not that you're trying to get rich off of people, but we have to be reasonable with what we're teaching everybody, because everybody knows that for me, for example, disability and disabled families means a lot to me, because I'm pretty transparent about, you know, what goes on in my life. I do have a disabled child. I do have 2 daughters. I don't post my children really on social media because of privacy, and I prefer to keep it that way. From time to time, I may post a picture, but it's only viewable to some of our audience. Some of the people I have on my page, not everybody. And Kimani and Michael, I wanted to tell both of you guys that with this being National Human Trafficking Month or whatever, I really thank you guys for being such outstanding men within our community, because we need more men involved, such as yourselves, to do more for women and our children in this community.
Let me say something real quick before I forget a very important point. It's one of those points that's going to hit some men, you know, in their soft spots. I'm trying to curve my words here. Okay. And remember where I am. Anytime, let's be mindful of a few things. Okay, when you're sitting somewhere and the subject is sex trafficking, or any subject that's talking about the safety of our people, whether it be sex trafficking, and Mike has seen me sit in on police brutality briefings, all of this stuff. When you hear these so-called leaders talking about healing our communities, and legislation to fix what's going on, and voting the right people in office to stop sex trafficking, be leery of those people, because you have to ask yourself, what has legislation and healing and all of this other stuff, what has any of this done to stop drugs in the community, to stop rape in the community, to stop car theft? We haven't stopped one single thing in our community because we keep looking at everybody else to fix the problem. If a man ain't talking about getting out there on patrol, if a man ain't talking about putting his own self in at least a portion of the danger that our women and children are in, stop listening to that man. Shun him. You should shame him. You should shame him, because the only thing that's going to stop and bring our babies back is the things that my men are doing out there right now, and they're kicking in doors and they're doing interviews and they're bringing our babies back. That's the only thing that's going to stop this shit. I mean, this stuff.
He's really trying. Kara, I want you to hold on for a few minutes. I have 4 callers on the line every time I do
I'll hold.
shows. the calls come in. The caller with the last 4 digits of 8768, go ahead with your name and your comment or your question.
Yes, my name is Destiny Perez, and how are you guys doing today? I'm here, and I have, as you guys know, I do the woman to woman segment, but I have a dear friend named Robert here, a client of mine, and he has an important question or something he wanted to point out for the sex trafficking directed towards that. And here you guys go. Here, Mr. Robert.
Okay. Yes, the main point, long story short, is remember there is a difference between talking to a male versus a female. Don't talk to a male as you talk to a female, and don't talk to a female as if you don't understand. That's a male. Because we have different thoughts in our head.
So
I don't understand. I don't understand that.
Okay, I'm gonna break it down.
I certainly understand what you're saying. I don't understand it where it's directed.
In cases of being directed, if you're trying to discipline.
So what you're saying is if you're trying to discipline a guy in versus...
If you're trying to discipline a female, that's a female. Don't treat her as a male. If you're trying to discipline a male, don't treat him as a female.
Yeah, I agree.
Both sides take that close. But if you go male for male, female to female, watch the change.
Of course.
Yes, sir.
And I agree with you,
sir.
Mr. Robert. I totally agree with you. Michael, do you have any statement to go with that?
What he just said?
Yes.
I agree. Yeah.
As well as Kimani. Could you please, Mr. Robert, hold on for a few minutes? I'm going to go ahead and get to the next caller because I have a few callers online. The next caller whose name and question and or comment that we're going to need is for 8545, that looks like, or 8546. Are they still there? Yes. 8545. It's 8545. They hung up. Okay, so the next caller would be 5170 is the last 4 digits of your number. And go ahead with your name and your question or comment.
That's my number.
That's yours? Okay, I'm sorry.
What's your comment?
Okay.
Yes, my name is Kamani. My question is for Kamani. Why are you so angry?
Kimani, I'm with you. And I know we got Curtis on the line. Hello, Curtis. How are you? Is he still there?
Curtis?
Yeah. Curtis? Curtis?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Can you
There
hear me?
go.
Sorry, I had the phone muted. Wake up and go to sleep.
You knew what I was going to say. So...
What's going on, Anna? How you doing, Mama?
I'm good. As you see, we're talking about human and sex trafficking. We're going to go more into detail, but I know this topic usually has a lot of callers who want to call in with questions and whatnot. And Kimani, don't feel bad because Curtis has dropped a few bombs on him too.
Hey, my man. Hey, that's passion, bro. That's passion.
Mom's over bad. Oh man. Look, listen. I heard the topic and it's really near and dear to my heart. Just the fact that we're allowing as a people, as a country, we're allowing the separation of families, hiding behind the ideology of false immigration is disturbing to me. And a few years back, I kind of got contracted to write a play for a human trafficking PSA, and they, instead of doing a video, they wanted to do an actual play, and it was like an evening, and CNN was supposed to come and tape it, but of course the play that I wrote was a little too harsh for CNN. But in writing this play, I had to do a lot of research, and it needed to be thrown out there to all the brothers who have daughters.
Yeah.
That coming tomorrow, your daughter and or son, because it's no longer just taking females anymore. Now they're taking little boys and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But the target is on them come tomorrow. Because one of the things that I found out, which was mind-blowing to me, for those on this phone that know me, you know I love football. But the most traffic time of any year in the United States is Super Bowl weekend and or week.
Yep.
And when I was doing my research, man, some of the things I read, some of these girls are being snatched and forced into sex trafficking, and literally you in Miami, because the Super Bowl's going to be in Miami, you there with 4 or 5 of your homeboys, y'all call an Uber because y'all trying to get to this function. Well, that driver might pull up with a minivan and he got a girl in there who ain't getting no money, but she's deemed to have to square everybody away in the car.
Yeah.
I hate to put it like that, but you just got to call it what it is. So I really appreciate Anna and my guy really tackling this issue. And finally, I just would like to say that I think it's time we stop lying.
Right.
I think it's time that America has to stand up on the frackernackle bull crap that they have issued out, because I still need somebody to explain to me in all reality, and I've been saying this, Raheem will tell y'all, I need somebody to explain to me why you are separating these children from their parents.
You're talking about the immigration law. That's on my forefront as well. It's the same thing. They're obviously being used for the same thing. These children are disappearing anywhere from infants. Go ahead.
Separating families from their children is American as apple pie, man. They did it to my people. I'm a Blackfoot. They've been separating people from their children, man. That ain't nothing new. Obama separated more children than Trump is. They're just trying to make it a big deal and tie it in with the wall. These motherfuckers, I'm done. I'm done. These people have never cared about keeping families together, ever. That's how they get our babies. All you got to do is get found with a joint in your house and they putting your baby in the system. Now you got to fight to get your baby out. We have to, as far as I'm concerned, we have to divorce ourselves from those rules. You had that baby. That's your child. That child belongs to you and that woman. Be willing to die for something. CPF can't nobody come in my house, man. Nobody.
I know that's right.
Nobody can come in I pay the rent here. I pay the mortgage. No one can come in I don't care what your paper says. I own this piece of, it's bad enough you took the entire country from me. This I own. And you certainly not going to come in here and remove my children, the most precious thing. Man, we have to snap out of it.
You're getting
we have
thumbs
to
up.
snap out of it.
You're getting thumbs up, but it's true, and I do. I agree with you, and I really want you as well as Michael, give the audience, before we leave today, a way to contact you. You have thousands of children that were just separated from and I'm talking about the immigration law, as well as it happened with other, things such as the Indians. And, it's not only been the Mexicans, like I say, or from Central America, which is something that really bothers me. And I am bringing a segment specifically towards that because I live, and I will do, as long as I breathe, what I can to help families find a way to maybe make it better. It's never going to fully go away, but if more of us stick together, guess what? Maybe you won't take that child. Maybe you'll think twice before taking that lady and maybe use her for organ harvesting or, sex trafficking
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Michael, I'm going to ask you about this because he taught me something new. I knew about a lot of this. So, I found out that there's also sports trafficking. I'd never heard of this, and I love that Excuse me?
Sports trafficking.
Sports.
What did you just say?
Sports. SPORT.
Sports trafficking.
Sports. Yeah.
Nah, I didn't know anything about that.
So, what I want you to do is, because I'm sure you've done more research than the rest of us. Once you told me I had to cheat a little bit, because I like to educate myself. So, can you explain to the listening audience, as well as all of us, what it is that sports trafficking is? Because you guys need to be aware that this can happen to any of you guys or your family members or your friends or your neighbor. So we all need to be each other's keeper. And I will continue saying this till I just can't anymore, till I'm lying in a bed and it's my last breath. So can you explain that, Michael? Because this is something it bothered me when I heard about this too, because I'm like, that's something else we have to worry about.
Yeah, so sports trafficking is when, like a sports entity or organization, they try to recruit players and they use the guise of scholarships and, we're going to take care of you and this, that, and the third. And when they get over to America, they take their passports, and they basically hold them hostage. And this is happening all over, like in the college circuit. Recently, in Georgia, there was a woman, Evelyn Mack, and she had a foundation, and she was running a scam. She had like 100 kids that came from overseas.
Wow.
And, she used the tactics that, hey, you guys are going to get scholarships, this and that. And when they came over, it was anything but that. And she's actually like in her 70s, and she's like in a wheelchair. She's like a paraplegic or Parkinson's disease, and she's still
doing evil things.
Yeah, she's still doing that, and they you can look it up. I think it's Evelyn Mackwood or something like that. But yeah,
everybody's in on that. The government's in on that, bro. That's why they don't never get caught until they're old and have done all that dirt and they're about to die. The government's in on it. Everybody's in on it. Everybody.
And I'm glad that you said that, because this is something that and I think Kimani said, or I'm not sure if it was Curtis, that I want you guys to understand that even when you guys go vote in these elections, read about the way that they voted in the past on certain laws or certain things. Read on their history and read about things that they turn their face about. Educate yourself. I can never tell anybody which way to vote. I could just tell you to educate yourselves. And I will say that till my last breath. Educate yourselves. One more thing I did want to ask both of you fellas. And, we kind of did get this. I'll start with you, Michael, because I know Kimani has no problem with saying it. I've actually interviewed him in the past. And I love that about you. I really do. What took you here to doing what it is that you're doing? And if you could, please explain to the audience what it is that you do so that the audience understands why I have you here, because I kind of like to give that history, and why I was like, okay, I really want you and Kimani to come in, because people need to know that these men really do exist, and there's not the kind of man that's going to see you, and I'll give an example. The girl in Alabama, I can't think of her name off the top of my head, beautiful girl. She went to the store. A guy sees that, she's in a struggle. She's been taken from the convenience store, and his wife tells him to mind his own business, so he could have probably saved her life. I can't think of her name, a beautiful girl. So either way, and again, I commend you guys, and I wish more of you men would, be more like them, because a lot of us women and a lot of us girls would really appreciate it, and it's not for you guys to feel like you guys have to do things. Again, before the show is over, and Kira, I did read your message. I will make sure that I get contact information or that they give contact information for themselves. Or if not, you guys can always contact me and I'll give you guys contact information and I'll get in contact with either of them if they choose not to give that information. And I will let them know what your situation is if you guys don't mind. With Michael, could you please give us a little information on your background and what took you here
Okay.
to do what it is that you're doing right now?
Okay. Well, in a nutshell, I'm a creative. I have a background in illustration, graphic design, advertising, and recently I've been getting into videography. And I also have some dear friends of mine, and what brought me to this issue, what brought me to sex trafficking is well, it's been a hot topic for a few years now, and just seeing all the videos and all the information out there, then finding out how people of color, we are the biggest target.
That's right.
For that. And so with that being said, and I always like to use my gifts to either teach or enlighten and educate the people. So I have one dear friend. I don't know if I'm not gonna name her name, but she works with women who have escaped sex trafficking. And for a while, we plan on doing a story. It's just how much I can tell of what she's doing. Because right now she has like a lot of minors. Yeah, so they all have open GBI cases. But she's just so phenomenal in helping people, helping these women. And then when I found out what Kimani was doing, like Kimani is my bro. He's always been there for our people. But when he started organizing these patrols, and cut me off if I say anything I shouldn't, bro. So
No, go ahead, bro. Do your thing.
and like these guys, these men and women are out there risking their lives. A lot of people don't know that. Like they are not just sit back saying, "Oh, that's bad." They
walk the walk.
They definitely walk the walk of what they talk. So when I had both of these both of these sides in front of me, I was like, I should just merge all of this and make a documentary of it. So that's why I'm on this role right now. And is that enough, or do you want to take a look at
I want you, while you have a chance before we get to Kimani,
Okay.
I want you to explain what your CYF foundation is.
Okay.
And what exactly you're trying to do with that, because I want the listening audience, if at all possible, listen to this and do what's right, what gets into your heart, to do the right thing for a good cause. Don't just do things because, this or that. I'm not trying to be funny, but it's tax return time, and a lot of you guys are getting taxes back. So, anyways, go ahead with your...
Well, thank you. It's actually CYC Foundation.
CYC, I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, it's fine. CYC Foundation.
By force, right?
And CYC stands for Color Your Community. And what the organization is in a nutshell, I use the arts to teach Black history and to raise and address social issues, and raise awareness on things. The reason I'm doing that is because, as you know, mainstream media doesn't have us as a voice, and we need that. And I work with a lot of youth. Excuse me. They help me do a lot of the projects. And it all kind of started me when I was doing Black history subjects. I was working at a local grocery store in Atlanta as a sign artist, and every February I would do these Black history exhibits, and they got real popular. And the last one I did, I kind of created an event where locals came in. I had something for the elementary school kids. They was able to come in and learn about science and science fiction. It was Black science fiction authors was the theme, and a lot of high school and college students helped me produce the work. So, in a nutshell, CYC Foundation is an organization that uses the arts to teach our history and give a positive light on Black media and Black people. And with that being said, we still teach the kids foundational things like I have Kimani, I have Sauce Mio, but Naman, all these guys who teach self-defense. So I want these kids not only to use the arts, but to learn self-defense and learn entrepreneurship, as far as like how to use the dollars and things like that.
And you know what? This is only an ATL. Man, I appreciate these guys and what you guys stand for.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, because our children need to learn this. A lot of that is lost. We've lost it. Parents, I don't know what's going on. I'm one of those parents that I'm total opposite. I'm on my kids everywhere I go. They're usually there with me unless they're in school. But Kimani, now same question to you. Where a little bit of your background, whatever you can tell, and what it is that brought you to do what you're doing today. And what was it that triggered? No, I have to make change, because something's always a trigger for all of us. And what is it that took you here?
Mine is gonna be short, man. I had a little bit of military background. So that's what kind of triggered me. Once I retired from the military, it was just, I saw that kind of, what was being done everywhere else is certainly being done here to my people, man. So that's what triggered it. It didn't take me much. I mean, if I went to put my life on the line over there all those times, certainly I could do something here. I represent a group of men that nothing wrong can happen around, period, no matter what it is. I don't care if we're all together. I don't care if we're separate. No women can be jumped on. No children can be taken. No old women can walk across the street alone, period. It cannot happen around us. And I'm trying to make it infectious. I'm trying to bring back what men really are. I'm trying to make it so every man is responsible for his community, period. Like, you have to get out there. We can't ask for the very same people that are taking our women and children off the streets and throwing them in jail and everything to protect us. We have to start. We have to start protecting ourselves. So I represent a group of men who are just tired of sitting back and waiting for everybody to legislate this and pass the laws for that. We've been waiting on that forever. And it's literally we're on a hamster wheel. So I just decided to get off that hamster wheel and find other men that decided to get off that hamster wheel.
That's right. And you mentioned something with the domestic violence, because to me, and I don't care what any man thinks of me, any man that can raise their hands to a woman and beat that woman like they're a man, you're the lowest scum.
That's right.
In my eyes. And, like I said, many of our eyes. You have a comment here from Kira. I'm assuming she hung up. And she thanked both of you guys for doing the work that you guys do, as well as myself, and I'm sure as well as other people that are watching through the different media outlets. So, again, I want to remind the audience that the phone lines are open, 678-381-1973. And I want to do, if at all possible, Michael, to go into the documentary of Enough. That's information. It's something that's kind of we've been getting little bits and pieces, and I'm dying for it to get finished. So give a little background on where you're going with it, what it is that you may need, if, from the audience. The listening audience, and where you're going with your documentary now.
Okay. Well, as she already said, the documentary is titled Enough, and it focuses on stopping human trafficking in the inner city. However, I think it is a film for everyone. Without giving the film away, we do examine human trafficking as a whole, how it affects us as a nation and globally, because it's a worldwide epidemic. But with my connection with some of the women I know who are counselors who are helping these people, with my connection with people like Kimani and his organization, it's going to be a
Of course.
solution-based documentary where there's things, and you can't address this issue lightly. It's a very horrible and violent topic, and so within the documentary, you will definitely have solutions of what you can do to either escape it, prevent it, or heal from it. And the overall feeling I want the listeners or the viewers rather to come away with is a feeling of hope. Like I can make it through anything. The women who have survived this stuff is just absolutely amazing. So the purpose of the documentary is to raise awareness, but also to give hope. And right now we're just starting.
Have you started?
We're just starting.
Have you started shooting yet?
No, well, I have some footage, but right now we're in the fundraising stage, and Anna's gonna let me launch the
What I've
fundraising
been trying to get them to launch for like
next
10
month.
minutes.
well, next month we'll be able to have the official launch for everything. So,
Hey, I wanna give you I'm gonna slide you a jewel really quick.
okay.
If you get a chance, look up a young lady. God bless her soul. Look up a young lady by the name of Triana. I want to say Triana Williams. They called her Tree. She's from right here in Baltimore. And
That's Curtis.
what a lot of folks don't know, because the story didn't go national, of course, the local kept it local because they did not want that story to go national.
Right.
But this young lady died at the hospital as a result of wounds of her fighting back. Well, the guy who killed her was affiliated with a big human trafficking sting that was going on right here in Baltimore City. I'm pretty sure you guys seen the leaflets come out over social media about the guys riding around in the U-Haul vans, and they was abducting girls, and then they went from the U-Haul vans to regular white vans because the authorities had caught on that these guys was going to go rent U-Haul vans. Well, as a result of Triana Williams, Tree, the guy who tried to rape her and take her into human trafficking was caught. And in him being caught, he turned up 23 people. He actually turned up the ring.
Wow.
And he rolled on them. But you would never know, because what they were doing was they was targeting the substance abuse users. And this guy just so happened to mess with the wrong one, because everybody in this city who knew Tree knew that Tree is not you gonna hit her and that's all you going. Oh, she was a real fighter. This girl, she was a female, but her hands was like Mayweather with a little cut of Roy Jones mixed all that in one.
Right.
And he called himself bringing it to her. And man, when you see his mugshot, oh, you can see it.
Right.
She put them hands, she put them paws on him. But
and bro, that's what we trying to teach, bro.
Yeah. Curtis, thank you.
It inspired a lot of people around the city to kind of pay attention. The city had been split for a while with all the drugs and everything, but people really started paying attention to, my daughter's out front, because these guys was literally riding around the city in your impoverished communities, and they was just snatching girls.
Bro.
If you guys get a chance, look it up. I think I'm saying her first name right, because we all called her by her nickname, which was Tree. But her last name was Williams. And she actually died, and she lived long enough to get to the hospital, but she died on the table at the hospital.
Curtis,
I
want you to know that you know Kira. She calls into the station from time to time on the Morning Glow. She said, "Hey, Baltimore," and she says, "Oh, I remember that story." So apparently it was something that was really big out there in that area. So Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hey, look at his mugshot.
Wait, I am now because
He
you know I
paid
like
for
to do
that.
research. But I'm gonna teach my babies that too.
Curtis, thank you so much for that. And the documentary, the documentary is gonna have a lot of stories like that. I want to go around the country actually, and there's some spots I really have an interest in. But like what I'm seeing here in Atlanta, without giving them the movie away,
Of course.
is there's a lot of people like Tree. Thanks to Kimani, thanks to like several organizations, you know, some of these women, some of these children that when they try to snatch them, you know, they're gonna get a buckshot in the face. You know what I'm saying? A knife to the throat. You know, that's why it's called Enough, because we've had enough. And what I'm seeing in Atlanta is phenomenal. It's amazing. I have to capture this. Like the training that's going on, just the people grouping up. And it's becoming more of a sense of community again. Watching out for your neighbor, watching out for your neighbor's kids. So nobody's playing with this, and people mean business. And I'm just happy that, you know, we're all unifying right now.
Well, see, and that's a big thing. I think we've all forgotten that with our electronic devices and the whole, I don't want to be in my neighbor's business. Be in your neighbor's business, not, you know, not over gossiping and stuff. 'Cause
Right.
that's not good either. But, you know, take a look outside and say, that's kind of weird. Something looks odd. Or if you're seeing that a lady is walking into her house by herself with her children, or her children going to the mailbox, kind of keep an eye out. It doesn't take but a few
Exactly.
seconds of your time.
Exactly.
We can all help each other, and please, we're heard across the nation and around the world. Please just take that advice. I'm asking you as a woman and as a mother and as an aunt, and one day I'll be a grandmother and all that good stuff. Just be there, especially, you know, it angers me that men can't do this. Like, I'm like, what?
Let me piggyback.
Go ahead.
Let me piggyback off that real quick, sis. Because when I say this to people, or when I say it in speeches or wherever, lectures or wherever, it's met with a certain level of wow, and that is this: if you see a van or a U-Haul truck or anything in your community, open it up. Period. Have them open it up. They don't have a choice. Open it up or get it out of my community, one way or the other. Because anytime a suspicious vehicle, hell, I can drive my Impala to one of those Richie neighborhoods. If that Impala don't fit in that neighborhood, I'm getting up out of that neighborhood, and I'm going to have to open it up. They're going to call the police or whatever. We have to take charge of our own communities. When I see a van, and any of my guys, Mike will tell you, any of my guys see anything that looks suspicious in our community, bro, I need you to open that up. I'm certain you can understand what we got going on around here, so I need to look in there. And if I look in there and I see you got, you know, whatever your tools of your trade and it makes sense, all right, bro, I appreciate your time. But if you got handcuffs and everything you need to take these babies, bro, you and your van coming with me.
I know that's right.
He ain't playing. That's not talk, y'all.
But yeah, and I appreciate that. Again, Kimani, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you and whoever works with you in these other organizations, because that's really needed, especially out here. I know Atlanta is one of the top cities that this type of stuff happens at, and you know, men like you guys that really stand up and take care of this are what I call a man, and I don't care what nobody says. That's a man. Take that few seconds extra. Michael, can you finish explaining what you're trying to finish explaining about Enough with investors and whatnot?
Okay. Yeah, so hopefully,
He's looking at me like,
like I said, next month she's gonna let me come back and do an official
Yes.
launch.
I am. I am. He's
That-
already
that's you,
asked me.
Raheem?
I told him
That's
yes,
you?
you're
Oh,
good.
Raheem said no.
He's like,
No.
that's her show. That's what she
But
wants.
so right now, I need funding, you know, and I don't want to do like a poor project.
That's right.
And it takes money, you know. It takes a lot of money. As far as film is concerned, it's not that much money, but as far as I'm concerned, it's a lot of money. So there will be an investors package. You know, we're working on a 501c3. So anything that you donate, you get it right back, and it's for a great cause.
Let's see.
But Yeah. So
Mike, didn't you say you were going to list their names at the end of the documentary for the donation?
There's something like that going on. Definitely, I'll go into that. We have a line of T-shirts that we do. So if you buy a T-shirt, at the end of the movie you get a credit.
That's part of the way I shot my film.
Right.
That's part of the way I shot my film, Mike. What I did was I did a GoFundMe page, right? Just to help. I had a certain amount of money already, you know what I mean, in coffers. And I did a GoFundMe page to all my friends, right?
Right.
And I literally listed, okay, if you donate $1, you'll get this, or if you donate $5, you get that. If you donate anything more than $50, you'll get a copy of the film. And you know what I mean? You'll get everybody who donated in the credits, their names was in the credits as a special thanks.
Right.
If they donated more than $50, their names was in the credit as a executive producer. Because some of those people, like somebody like myself, if you say, if you donate $100, we'll give you credit as an executive producer. As a director myself, I need that on my resume.
Right.
So I may be willing to take that $100 and say, okay, Mike, look, man, put that to work. I don't care what you do, put that to work, because I know once the movie drops and them credits roll, my name gonna be on there as an executive producer, so I can then put that on my resume. So
that makes sense.
It works, man, because I hit a wall and I couldn't spend no more money.
Right.
So the people who invested that money gave me that little bit of money I needed to take me over the top, man.
Okay, and Curtis and Michael, I do have the information for both of you guys off air. I will get you guys in contact with each other, and I appreciate that, Curtis, as we're trying to figure out how to get this started for him. And of course, I've already spoken to Kira, and maybe we can all work something out and do some type of a mentoring show or something, and pick up some extra donations. We'll just have to get together and figure out how to do that for your cause, because causes like this, you have my undivided attention. Causes that have to do with the club and stuff like that, you have none of my attention. So that's just the way it goes. So I have a caller on the line, and it's 85. Okay, they're calling back now?
No, the one that was on earlier with us.
Oh, okay. Jasenia, now we're doing our woman-to-woman segment. How are you?
Yeah. I'm doing good today. How are you? How are you doing, my friend?
Good. I'm doing good. Well, good and sad, because this topic is something that means a lot to me, and I continue to fight it.
Hits home for a lot of us. Yes, It truly does hit home for a lot of us. Yes.
Exactly. So,
and
go ahead.
So I was listening, and man, you guys really hit home today. And there was something that I wanted to say, but before I get into that, I must. You guys kept, Mr. Kimani, he kept speaking about if you see a van, if you see anything like that, a U-Haul storage thing, you need to pull it over. About 2 years ago, I was in Jacksonville, Florida. I live in Melbourne, Florida, Brevard County. I went to Jacksonville, Florida alone in a van. I got stuck in a ditch. Looked like a sub, the neighborhood looked pretty well, and but no one would stop to help me, which I thought was so odd. Everybody kept running by. But what I did see was an Aladdin van, but spick and span. I mean, like, who has an Aladdin cleaning van? This brand new. So it struck me as odd, since I was so nervous about getting out. I'm by myself. I was already nervous. I weigh 115 pounds right now. And so here goes. Not only does one person come, another van comes, and then a SUV comes and all of them look like they're from Turkey or something of that sort, almost like the movie Taken. So, but they were the only ones who would stop to help me. So he brings the wife up. The wife comes up to me and says, "We are very nice. We're the only nicest people in this town." And at that moment, I could care less. I just needed to get out of the ditch. I was 3 hours away from home. And so I took the help immediately. Two other SUVs came with 2 other men and 2 other women. Oh my God, I started praying inside my heart. I said, Jehovah God, I hear so much about sex trafficking. Lord, I think I'm in it. God, get me out of it. Get me out of it. Then the next thing you know, an Aladdin van, he had kept circling, but as soon as those men stopped and I agreed to get help from them, the Aladdin van came. But guess what happened by the grace of my prayer? I know 5 other people stopped out of nowhere, which no one stopped before. So I said, I know that was God saving me once again. And at that moment, so what the man had to do was bring his friend to give me his number to coerce me to call them later. But later never happened. I was crying so bad when I got out of there. Okay, now, according to children just getting taken, according to Mr. Kimani, like you say about fighting back, that was the real thing I wanted to get out. I've had my own, I am a survivor, okay? So, I was a young girl, 16. Now I'm 40, thank God. 16 years old, 15 years old, I know not better. I didn't have that guidance. I'm walking down the street. I was sort of tomboyish. And here comes a gentleman and his friend. And they're like, hey, oh, you're beautiful, we'll do this, we'll do that. Just like a kid at a candy store. And I was so young, but thought I knew so much without guidance. So I said yes. So they take me to a store and buy me anything I want. And luckily, I'm telling you again, that was God saving me because I was a tomboy. I don't wear heels. But for some reason that day, I said, you know what, they're buying me that. I want red heels out of nowhere. I don't even know how to walk in them. And before I know it, there was only one person, then another person, then I was locked into a room. Before I knew it, they gave me some story about how somebody had to go and do something, and I don't know. I was so young. All I know is I ended up in a locked room in the middle of a deserted area and messing around. If I screamed, no one would hear me. The man came in drunk, sweating, and all I know, it turned into fight or flight. All I could do was take my 2 feet with those heels, and I used them as like the exercise bicycle. Man, I did that number so hard and so good. I said, Lord must have been giving me some strength because he got beat up. I mean, the nuts, excuse my language, but everything got hit with them heels. Them heels was going everywhere. Neck, bottom, face. And so I guess between the Lord and his drunkenness, he said, I can't do it. I can't do it no more. I ran out of the room so fast, I don't know how I got home. I don't remember anything. What I do remember is that the Lord has saved me from sex trafficking and from being raped and killed or whatever was going to happen that day. So it is real and it happens, but I am going to say I'm a survivor. So you got to fight. So what you're telling the children is right. What you're teaching them is right. What the man Robert said was right too about the differences in the girls and the boys. They need to know how to protect themselves different, but all in the same time. As long as we know we must fight for ourselves, and we must, because you know what? If I didn't fight, if I balled up and got afraid, I may not been here today to celebrate my 40th birthday on the 8th of December.
And I can
So you have to fight. Never give up. That even as scared as you are, whoever's listening, as scared as you may be, don't you not fight.
That's
You
right.
fight. That's your last chance. You fight like it's your last chance.
And just
And that's what I want to say.
And just so that the listening audience does know, Jacinia and I have known each other since we were kids, since Melbourne, Florida. She was approximately 40 minutes in a car from her house. For her to get away from that situation, because she was nowhere near home. Needless to say, she never did anything like that again. And I can attest to the fact that she was tomboyish. Really, she had 2 brothers, so you could just imagine she grew up around the boys, and she had that in her. And maybe thank God for that, because some other young girls, have not been so fortunate. Needless to say that...
Well,
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's just a shame that men like that are allowed to walk amongst us, man. Like we have to, like, I'm sorry, man, but there's certain people that should not be allowed to be amongst us, and we know they're right there in the community. We know they're right there. We know that. Don't walk past so-and-so house because they got somebody in there to come out and snatch you. He known for snatching little girls. Really? Is he? Let's get him out of there. Let's make him not exist no more. Let's make that community safe.
That's right. And
But no, we rather have our kids playing Frogger, going back and forth to school, dodging sex traffickers and rapists and stuff instead of just cleaning out our community.
That's right. I
right.
absolutely agree with you, Kimani. I'm 200% with you. I want to tell you guys, this was an amazing show. An hour goes by in no time. I thank each and every one of you guys. Michael, if you'd like to give your contact information, go ahead and give it to the listening audience if you're willing to give that. And then Kimani, I'm going to ask you the same thing thereafter in case somebody's in need of help. You can tell them how to do that. Jasenia, thank you for that segment on women to woman, because I know what it's like at home, and you guys wouldn't believe this. This is a small, rinky-dinky town, so things like this shouldn't even be happening. And she was so afraid that she never reported this. And so this guy was probably allowed to maybe hurt one or two other people, but that is her naiveness at the time, her youth, and an older man taking advantage of her, because this guy must have been at least the age that we are now today. So it's not fair. And you girls, please be very wary. And I also tell boys to be very wary, because this does happen to boys as well. I think people tend to forget boys. And I mean, I say that because I have heard of so many situations where these same things have happened to little boys, and all of a sudden from the internet, all of a sudden the pictures is being exposed all over the place. So please watch your kids. Be your neighbor's keeper. Be everybody's keeper. You know what? Better that than sorry. So Michael, go ahead with
reporting to men.
Okay, yeah.
Start reporting it to men. That information needs to be reported to men. If you want to go the police route, that's fine, but report that information to men. And once that information gets reported to the men in the community, the women in the community need to start holding those men in the community accountable.
I know that's right.
That is very correct, and I also agree, because now that I look back at that time, had I went home to say, hey, remember that guy that was at the store? Because my community raised me. I was on my own since 12. My community raised me. So if I would have had went back and said, hey, remember that one guy that was here at that store? Oh, they probably would have all ganged up and tried to find who this person was. But see, that person never came back to our town. So, yeah, you know. But I don't know what town, where, or what, but I wasn't able. But, I wish. That's the one thing I wish I would have done. And I'm in agreement with you. It ain't so much the cops, because the cops, you know how they are. But the people within the community are the ones that need to be alerted, because together we can. I always say that on this show.
Absolutely.
Together we can.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So Michael,
Yeah.
go ahead with your information.
Sure, if you'd like to learn more about the project or more about CYCU Foundation, right now you can find us at Facebook, Color Your Community, and it'll give you a sense of how we started, what we did, and you can learn more about the project and learn about when we're going to launch next month.
And I'll be updating you guys with information. Yes, Anna, me. Is that it for
Yeah,
you?
right
Do you have an Instagram or anything in case?
Just on Facebook right now.
Okay.
Yep.
Kimani, do you have that information that's available to the listening audience?
Man, I'm super old school. I still got Black Planet. They can reach me at Kimani Sadiq on Facebook. I'm not a real big social media head, but if they hit me up on Facebook, I'll definitely respond.
Okay. And I want you guys to know, if you guys do need to reach any of them, you guys can reach me at Anna, A-N-A, last name Quiñones. Q is in Queen, U is in Umbrella, I is in Igloo, N is in Nancy, O is in October, N is in Nancy, E is in Edward, S is in Sam. And that's my Facebook. My Instagram is Quiñones, so it's my name backwards that I just spelled for you guys. Quiñones, Anna, A-N-A, 471. You can also reach me under the same one at LiveMe, and we see you 01 on Twitter. So please, if you guys need any help or anybody finds themselves in a situation that you can't get out of, please reach out to me. I will make sure that you get the help that's needed, or we can contact the people that's needed, especially out here in Atlanta. I also wanted to let you guys know, Jasenia, if you have a way of contact, because they listen to you on Woman to Woman each week, or they listen to our conversation, if you can have a way of contacting you through social media.
Would be, yes, it would also be the same on my Facebook, Jasenia Perez.
Can you spell
Would
it out
be a
for
great
them?
solution. Jesenia, last name Perez, and along with Women to Women and inspirational and factual things. Also, we see the Anna's Inspirations. It's funny because my friend Anna Quinones has got this show, but my name of my business is Anna's Inspirations, and so we laugh about that. But the point is, at Anna's Inspirations, we also feed clothes, hair. We do a lot of community events, to give back. So anything at all, if we could be a help in any kind of way, you could reach out to me on Facebook or my phone number 321-419-8768.
Okay.
And I will always do what I can.
Okay, and I wanted to let you guys know, to the listening audience, that next week we will be bringing back Jasmine Mack on the medical kidnapping, which is also a part of human trafficking. She will be back next week with part of her panel. I look forward to having you guys listen in. God bless each and every one of you guys that have tuned in, and please share these videos through all media outlets. God bless each and every one of you guys. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.